Man, I kind of have so many things going in my mind that I'm lost. One thing I'll start off with is every guest that I bring on, here's one thing that I took from you. I asked them a question kind of pertaining to the book. The first question with their first appearance is always, and just keep this at back of your mind, and then at the end of the episode, I'll ask you again. You can answer it. So, uh, in these chapters, you didn't get too much of the dragons. You got a couple interactions with them.
Yeah, at the end though, it was fun.
Yeah, so in this series, and if you have any questions that you want filled in, just let me know. And
Yeah,
as long as they're in the past and not spoilerly, down to answer them, do whatever we need. But
cool.
so basically, Liz is the landlady. She's the main person. She's the mom, head of household. David is the tenant, renting a
Hmm.
room from there. And she makes her money by making these clay dragons, and the
Okay,
clay dragons are special dragons. Well, let me back up a little bit. Half of them are special, some of them aren't special dragons. They have like some special magic to make them come alive.
hmm,
But everybody gets their own special dragon, kind of close to like being at Camp Half Blood. Everybody gets a cabin, gets sorted by their
cool.
godly parent, right? Their dragon is unique to them. They have tools or something that they specialize in. So like they have a listening dragon that has big old ears. David's dragon is a writing dragon, so he has a pencil and a notepad, things like that. So my question is going to be, if you had a special dragon,
Ooh.
what items would it hold?
Okay, alrighty. And it's like the dragon kind of like matches my personality kind of thing. Or
Yeah, yeah,
okay,
yeah. So, I'll tell you what mine was. So I'm doing podcasting, and I'm doing, obviously, like I was saying, I'm a union carpenter, so I said my guy would have a hammer and a microphone. I
okay,
had one of my best friends, she guested, and she wanted to go a little bit more introspective, so she said that she had a feeling dragon that would help her with like intuitive things, just having kind of a directional guide kind of dragon.
cool. Okay, I'll keep it in the back of my mind. Ooh, so many options.
Awesome. Yeah, yeah, so many. Okay, well, let's start the episode then. Hello, all of you flyers, riders, and writers. I hope you had a safe flight in and hit no turbulence. Welcome back to the Tears of Fire podcast, a podcast where I go through The Last Dragon Chronicles by Chris DeLacy. And today we will be going through the chapters 29 through 32 of Firestar. Joining me today is none other than the Mike Schubert from so many. There's the newest Olympian, Potterlist, Modern Muckrakers. I'm sure I'll plug so many more, or Mike will have to talk about them too. Mike, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, my name is Mike Schubert. I host, as Diego said, too many podcasts, but the main biggest ones center around children's literature. So I started with Potterless, which was a podcast where I never read the Harry Potter books as a kid, so it was me going through them for the first time as an adult. Then I ran out of stuff, and J.K. Rowling became a publicly terrible person, so I switched, and now the main show is me doing the newest Olympian, which is the same format but with the Percy Jackson series, and I do the books, and I did the bad movies. Now I'm doing the good TV show, so all that stuff. That's kind of like the main thing, and then there's a bunch of other podcasts out there as well. But I would say those are the two most relevant to the YA fantasy sort of book that we've got going on here. Which I enjoyed. For context, I only read the chapters that we are covering today, which was a fun little experiment. I was very excited when you were like, no, 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 only read these. So it was fun, kind of a couple pages in, to be like, let me see if I can figure out who these people are. Who's this Gadzooks fellow? So it was fun to really try and use my context clues skills to be like, oh, all right, I think I figured it out.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear what you got out of it and what dots you connected just from, especially with the first chapter being what, 2 pages long, or not
Quite tiny.
even. Yeah, so there's not much to get from there, but it's going to lead to great conversations because we're kind of in the thick of it right now. So my backstory on this series myself is I read this about 15 years ago when it was first coming out. I was in like elementary/middle school,
Mhm.
and it was the first big book series that I read, got me into reading, and I wanted to how would you say, interact with it again recently. My friend is super into reading. She was reading the new Hunger Games book that just came out,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
the one about Haymitch, I believe.
Right.
And so after we finished that one, I want to interact with this. I looked for, there's no audiobooks, there was no podcasts.
Huh.
Before this, there was two YouTube videos, and I think the most recent one was from 7 years ago. And so I
Wow.
just figured that if it's not out there, I think it's a good enough story to be told that it should be shared, and why not me make it, you know? So this is my
Yeah.
learning journey. It's my first podcast. It's gotten, in my opinion, exponentially better from the start,
That
but you know,
happens.
we're
That is
still learning.
exactly the podcaster's journey. You figure everything out, you make every type of mistake exactly one time, and then you just improve and grow and grow. Yeah, gosh, when I listened to the earliest episodes of Potterless, which I only listened to, I think the first two, like years after the fact, because I did a live shows when I was on tour, revisiting them. Oh, it was tough. Oh, it was so tough to listen to
Yeah.
how much worse I used to be. Oh, just like screaming, like, "Why didn't you edit this?" No. So yeah, yeah, yeah. The improvement is part of the joy.
Yeah, there's been quite a few times where my mom's told me, "Hey, you need to go listen to this part of the episode real quick." I'm like, "Oh, dude, come on." Um,
Yeah.
just so you know, I do have this set up. I have it in the description in the show that technically this series is for younger kids, 8 to 12-ish range. But this is an all ages podcast. I don't want anybody restraining themselves or trying to filter themselves in any way. So feel free to cuss, say
Oh,
anything
you
that you
mean all
say.
ages? In the older sense, I usually
Right, right.
it's funny. I'm so used to saying all ages in the other, where it's like, oh no
Oh,
no,
I guess
it's
yeah, that makes sense too. That's, you know, my brain. I
no,
guess
I am so trained from doing a what I would call all ages in terms of no cursing show with TNO since 2021 that I will probably keep it clean. But I appreciate that if I got really fired up, I could drop a certain sort of curse word. I don't
yeah,
think I will be doing that
100%.
this time.
All right. Well, I guess we should probably get into the show and actually
Hmm.
talk about it. So last week we left off with a couple of different chapters. I'm not sure if you noticed, but these chapters tend to jump around with perspectives quite a
Yeah.
lot.
Hmm.
So in one of the perspectives, we ended with Russ calling David, telling him that Zanna had disappeared, was basically taken by the bears. Tatuga was freaked out, didn't really know what was going on, froze, and pissed himself in the helicopter. And Liz and David were talking about what they need to do to start planning for Lucy. Some backstory on that. You might have gotten it from this chapter with Lucy, but Lucy was kidnapped by Gwilana.
Hmm.
In the second book, Icefire, Gwilana was the main character, I would say. She was the newbie coming in, and at
Hmm.
first she was proposed to be Auntie Gwyneth. She was this older
Okay.
lady that had all this information and knowledge because Liz and Lucy are from a magical line. They can mold and make clay and have the dragons come to life. They
Gotcha.
do that through ice fire, and that's
Yes.
snowball that was given to Liz at a very young age by a polar bear. And this polar bear is like a Inuit shaman guy that can kind of shape shift and go back and forth between forms, human and bear. And that is currently, so again, what I've said in previous episodes and everything. I've read this series once 15 years ago, so I don't remember everything.
Sure.
But I remember big moments. One of the things I don't remember if the shaman is Dr. Bergstrom or if Dr. Bergstrom is just super knowledgeable.
Okay.
That's what I'm still confused on myself, and we're getting there and everything. But yeah, so we're gonna start off with chapter 30, or no, chapter 29. I'm so sorry about that. A challenge for David. And I almost want to get into the next one because this is a very small chapter. It's
So
only two
quick.
or three pages long. David awakens. He was waking up from the dragon song that Liz had sang to him to calm him down and get him to actually rest. And as they're conversating back and forth, Liz is telling him that they got a hold of Graith, or more Graith got a hold of the dragons in her. So backstory for that, Grayth is a dragon that Lucy had made for her first, how would I say this? Her first correct, proper dragon that was able to come to life and everything. And David had named it, not even thinking. And the rule is if you name the dragon, you keep the dragon.
Okay.
Dragon becomes yours. So, I don't think the plan was supposed to be for Grayth to be David's. David swooped in, took it. It's all been working out. And Grayth is on a mission right now to find out the full story, secret, purpose of what happened to Gwaine, the last real dragon's fire tier.
All right.
And so, explaining all that, Grayth is going on and saying, hey, the best thing to do right now is to create a dragon. He's asking David to make it, and so Liz comes with all of her special dragons. They're all kind of gathered around him as he's waking up, which to me would actually be kind of a freaky sight, man. If I'm
Oh
waking
yeah.
up groggy, being put in a magical sleep almost, I'm picturing you're coming up hard out of that, and there's just dragons and your landlady standing at your bed. Like that's a little sketchy. I don't know. No, maybe not sketchy, but I would be worried about what's coming next if I didn't do the dishes, if I didn't sweep, what did I do? So the dragons all come one by one and give David just lumps of clay, and then David is kind of just sitting there wondering what's going on, and that's the end of the chapter. Wasn't sure what to take from that other than David needs to make a dragon. Did you have any questions or thoughts on?
I had more of a silly question, which was at one point very early on. It says Bonington patted up and touched his nose to the tenant's cheek. Chicken flavored chunky chunks. What are chicken flavored chunky chunks? That felt like.
I love it out of context because when you know what's going on, totally normal sentence. All right, got it.
Mhm.
But yeah. So Bonington is the family cat. He's just chilling,
Okay.
hanging around. He's been obviously around these dragons quite a lot, so he's used to these kind of interactions. In the last book, there was a little scene where Gwilana comes out to be the bad guy, Anti-Gwyneth, big reveal, blah, blah, blah. And the icefire is melted, and Bonington laps some of it up and drinks it. And it says that his eyes flashed from whatever I think it was just brown to violet, and violet is the color. If you see any dragon's eyes turn to violet, or you see Liz's eyes turn to violet, that's the signify that magic is happening essentially. But it said that his eyes flashed, so what I took from that is from that point on Bonington could see and understand the dragons fully as well.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, so yeah, that's just Bonington, and I'm guessing he just ate a big old meal and had stank ass breath.
Okay.
Yeah, so then that brings us into chapter 30, The Call of Gwendolyn, and this was, I would say, a very important chapter. It's
Yeah.
quite lengthy, and we get an interesting interaction with Lucy. I think she's starting to almost I mean, she's young. She's not even 12. She just had her 11th birthday. She had been kidnapped, taken against her will to this cave out in the middle of the Arctic. She doesn't know where she's at or what she's doing. And it to me almost feels like this is her coming of age almost, where she's
Mhm.
deciding, hey, if anything's going to happen, I have to do something and I need to make it work. But to get into the chapter, Lucy's been in the cave for a couple of days now. I believe they were saying like 3 to 5 around there, and she's just had enough of it. The cave is cold, it's wet, it's just not a comfortable setting for her whatsoever. Gwilana comes in, and Lucy starts asking her a couple of questions. Why am I here? What do I have to do with anything? Gulana gets very upset, and she basically tells Lucy, "You're here to attune with the dragon and help with his raising." And she's very sharp, stern, and rude to this little girl that she just kidnapped. I mean, I guess if you're kidnapping a child, you're not caring about how they're feeling or how you're speaking to them. But it was rough to read. I couldn't imagine speaking to an 11-year-old like this. Be kind of rude.
Okay, yeah,
Uh,
11. I didn't know the ages. Even going into this chapter, I was like, let's figure out if Lucy's a person or a dragon, because I didn't know the G name thing until like as it went farther and farther. But yeah, 11 makes it even worse. I was not imagining her to be that young, just not knowing the context. But like, yeah, that is especially tough. 11 is
yeah,
so young.
11 is so young. Yeah, and I guess that's the big age for not I guess. That is the big age for the Penny Kettle girls. Once they turn 11,
Mm,
Auntie Gwyneth usually comes in and goes through some kind of I'd say ritual to help teach them how to use their gift that's been given down because Gulana's just like the old shaman. She's technically 900 years old. She's found some way to extend her life, and she's been there at the birth of every Penny Kettle child and has trained every Penny Kettle child. So this is, just that next step of their growth slash development with the added element of trying to bring back Gwaine. This is the first time Gulan is trying to attempt that.
okay.
But Lucy gets upset and she tells Gulana that she doesn't want to do this stuff anymore. She throws a pot against the one of the rocks in the cave and it breaks. Gulana gets pretty upset. She changes into her crow form and says that she's going to go check on the girl and that the girl is plotting with the bears. And Lucy puts this together that this is Zanna. And
Yeah.
she's yelling at Gulana, telling Gulana, you can't hurt her, don't do that. Which is funny because I mean, they've had a couple of interactions be decent, but for the most part, Lucy and Xana did not get along. So I
Oh,
was
interesting.
surprised to see Lucy coming to the defense of Xana.
Yeah, I would not have known that they didn't get along well because everyone seemed very concerned for Xana throughout this section of the book. I was like, man, I hope Xana's okay.
Yeah, well, and again, like I said, I didn't remember exactly what happened, so I was just trying to rack my brain without reading ahead, and where the
Hmm.
heck did she go? And we find out in a couple of chapters what happened,
Hmm.
which I'm still confused on how she got there. But so Gulana is yelling at her. She basically Lucy says she's bored too. Like, if you're gonna keep me here, please teach me something.
Right.
Talk to me. Gulana's rude about that even and says that she tried to teach Gwendolyn. Gwendolyn is okay. So the original Penny Kettle is Guinevere, right? And
Okay.
I always assumed that that was supposed to be like Guinevere from King Arthur, right?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So Penny Kettle features are red hair, green eyes, and then Penny Kettle handed down. But anyway, so Gwaine dies, and Guinevere's there to help him pass and catch his fire tear. That's what they release when they die.
Okay.
And she's the only one that can handle it. Gulana wants that power, and so they make a deal. And part of the deal was I'm not sure if Guinevere couldn't have children, or maybe it was just that she didn't have a uh, someone in her life that could help her produce children,
Okay.
but she didn't have a child at that point. So she asked Gulana for a child. Gulana made this child out of hair from Guinevere, mud, clay, and essence of a dragon using a dragon scale. And so I'm assuming that's, why the Penny Kettles have so much connections with these. But Gwendolyn was that first daughter that Guilana made from her. And so that's what this whole chapter is coming about in kind of talking to them. But so Guilana says that she tried to teach Gwendolyn everything. And that's why she was so ticked off when Gwendolyn decided to go side with the bears instead.
Hmm.
And I'm not sure how much we didn't really get too much on the bears, but bears are a
We get a
big thing.
little bit in the next chapter, I think,
Yeah,
and I
with
got the
Judy.
I got the vibes, yeah, that we are anti-bear in this household.
Yeah, well, actually, not in the household, just
Oh,
Gwilana. Bears have been very good.
oh,
Bears are the ones that
interesting.
gave uh, Liz her icefire to begin with. So, in the
Oh,
lore so far, what we've figured out is that the polar bears are the guardians of the icefire. They're
gotcha.
polar bears that roam the ice and keep the secret.
Okay, okay.
All right, so After Guilana leaves, Lucy is obviously bored. She tries going to find another place to hanker down, be warm. And, she's just uncomfortable. And the fire star that is up in the sky is illuminating this cave. And a different way is what I kind of understood it as, that she was able to see a little bit more. Maybe the light was leading her to a certain place.
Yeah.
Uh,
Felt
she
very like
finds
magical influence kind of thing.
100%. That's what I thought too. But she finds this place in the wall that looks like there's a little crack or something might be loose. So Lucy tries to knock on it a couple times. First few times, no budges, didn't really move, and then she gives it one big heave with both hands. Falls in. It's kind of like a movie scene. Falls in with a cave, almost like the Goonies, where they're up in the attic and they fall down. That's kind of what I pictured.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
But Lucy says that it's a den. And in this den, at first she's scared because she steps on something, she crunches it, not sure what it is. She feels around in the dark, and it's a bone. So she goes and sits down for a little bit, freaked out. But once she
yeah.
works up, yeah, who wouldn't
Dark
exactly?
cave crunch for like your mind has to go to bone. Like there's nowhere else to go.
Yeah, even if it's a cave critter, yeah, it's going to be bone, exactly.
Some sort of bone, something.
And so she works up the courage to go back to the den. And when she kind of looks around, she brought a new fire stick so she could actually see. She finds a normal human skeleton and then one huge enormous skeleton that she just assumes is a bear, which, good assumption. Story's all about bears.
Right.
One and the same. I have a note written on here. You wouldn't know this, though. Is this Guinevere and Thorin, or is this Gwendolyn and some other bear? Because in the lore, Guinevere and Thorin is the original bear. He started out as brown, but as soon as so Gwaine's fire tear poured into the ocean with the help of Gaia.
Okay.
And yeah, I know.
I've got some experience
in the books. Yeah, I was gonna say, it's so funny. But with the help of Gaia, she turns that part of the ocean into the Arctic. So that's where the Arctic came from in this universe. And when it switched over, Thorin became the first polar bear.
Okay.
So I wasn't sure if this was Guinevere and Thorin, or again if this was Gwendolyn and some other bear years after, when she decided to go side with the bears versus Guilana.
Okay, noted.
And Lucy, as she is inspecting these skeletons, the human skeleton had a necklace with a couple of trinkets on there. Said like some bones, some teeth, and a little fur that were fashioned. To me, I was wondering if it was almost like a talisman.
Yeah.
How these old villages, would wear protective symbols or something.
Right. Those are the vibes that I was getting. Like, important to a culture. We might not know exactly what it represents, but there's enough care and craftsmanship put in that it's important to this group of people.
100%. And then in her hand, there was an ancient box, per se. And she opened it, and in the box, did I not write it down? I do know that there was a chunk of hair that was polar bear and red hair intertwined to signify bears in that lineage being, tied together forever. And then the isosceles. What Lucy said she realized was the only thing her mom had ever named from the dragon, but was the spiky tip of its tail.
Right.
And that pretty much brings me to the end of that chapter. Did that bring up any questions or anything you wanted to talk about?
I think you have clarified some of the questions, because mainly my main questions were like, who are these people? Why are they doing this to this person? So and put it together. But it was fun because the whole time I didn't know the species that the people were. Like,
Oh
as
yeah,
I
yeah,
was
yeah.
going on, I was like, well, they feel like humans, but I was like, I can't rule out, I can't rule out that they're dragons. So it was fun for me and try and like imagine in my mind's eye what was going on. But then I think as I read the next ones, it was like, okay, I was kind of retroactively putting together what was going on. Fun experience to be plopped in the middle of a book in the middle of a series. A good time.
Yeah, you're directly in the, well, I guess technically what five would be, but I don't know. When
Yeah,
I
close
first found
close
this
to the
series,
center.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Middle of the book, middle of the series. It's wonderful. I do appreciate it. Just because of those, you're not sure, but you did catch up, or you did pick up on the dragons being named with G really quick. You
I
mentioned that, and
mean,
that
that
was
that final chapter that we're going to cover had so many of them that it was like
kind
clearly
of
this
just
is
infer
not.
it.
Well, it's funny because when I was first reading this chapter is when they mention it's Gwendolyn and Guinevere, and I was like, that's a wild choice to have two characters named that. That's like so similar. Why would they do this? And then as I continued to read, I was like, oh, okay, there must be a G rule. And then it wasn't until we get into the naming where they explicitly say, like, even though it started with a G. And I was like, aha!
Yeah, yeah,
My
which is
adult brain
interesting.
figuring out how the children's book series works. Aha!
I would have to play either a lot of Wordle or just read a dictionary or something. I would run out of G names. There's no
You got to
way.
be pulling up one of those baby registries that's got all the names. I'm sure that's what that our author Chris was doing.
Yeah,
He's
I
just,
remember. I don't know why my family are a bunch of hoarders. So I remember growing up on our bookshelf, and our family are, if we read it, we buy it. So we just had bookshelves. And I remember being like, there was a full top shelf of just baby name books. It
mm.
was it
hmm
was weird. I don't know. You just saying that just brought that up, and it's been a
It's
long
great.
time since I've thought about that.
I love it.
Okay. So that's going to bring us into chapter 31, what Tutega saw. And mostly throughout this series, they just call him Tega. So I'm just going
Okay,
to call him Tega. Makes it a
cool.
little bit easier. But so we start out with Tega heading to his village. It is a long trek, and he's going. I'm not sure what the technical term of it is called, but when you're sledding with, like a whole team of dogs, dog
Yes.
sledding, is
I
that
would
just what it's
assume
called?
dog sledding. I don't know. I've done it a couple of times while on vacation in the Nordic countries in Europe, and it's a blast and a half. It's super cool.
That's
I
awesome. I
highly
actually,
recommend.
my best friend, his mom used to live in Alaska before she moved down in like her early 20s, but she's got tons of pictures where yeah, she was doing that. And we went up with her one time on a little trip, and I fell off I was garbage. So I was like, I'm gonna go be warm, guys. You guys have a good one.
The thing is, those dogs are just so well trained. It is so impressive. Like the tiniest little maneuvers that you do on the sled portion that, yank their harnesses in certain ways. Like the fact that they can react so quickly is astonishing. And then one time I did it, it was like overnight. It was like you do it at night and you hope the northern lights come out. It was too cloudy for them to come out, but still you're like, I was in, valleys of a mountain range in Tromsø, Norway. Like how upset can I really be? It was still gorgeous. But yeah, the fact that they were, angling and swerving and everything in complete darkness, incredible. Hats off to
Yeah,
those dogs. They're so well trained.
beautiful. And they're so powerful. They're
Really
so
strong.
powerful.
You go really fast unless
Yeah,
you rein them in. They
I
can
was
go.
impressed, man. Yeah, I got kind of sketched out. And like, I'm not really, we go four-wheeling, we do dirt bikes, like I'm used to going fast without anything encapsulating me. And that, I don't know, maybe it was just because it was a living being that was
Sure,
doing the pulling that it kind of changed things. I don't know, but it was definitely a different feeling.
for sure.
But so he's heading out on this 5-day trek. He finally gets out to his village called Seal Point, and
Mhm.
he's thinking about what David had told him that Inuit villages, or even I think it was Cambridge or Chamberlain, one of the two, or one of the three, I should say, just looks like kind of somebody didn't clean their room. It's just all scattered about. There's about 20 to 30 log cabins in there. And as he's pulling up, there's a younger guy that pulls up to him. I think his name is Atok or Apok.
I think
I
it was,
wrote it
yeah,
down.
was it, I think a POC. I'll have to,
Apok. But
yeah,
as
a
my
POC, APAK.
yeah, okay, I was gonna say I knew it was AP something. or I could have sworn. But so Apak kind of greets him. To me, I got the feeling like it might have been just on the outskirts of town, or maybe right on the edge of it. And they're just talking, catching up. Apak tells him that Grandpa knows that he's coming, and there's a couple of villagers kind of side eyeing Tega, and Tega's not too sure why or what's going on. Pak asks him if he knows what's happening in the village and if that's why he's here. And Tega doesn't really have an answer. He just says that he needs to talk to Grandpa.
Hmm.
We get later on that Grandpa is the shaman of this village. He's been, and they don't really give us an age, but just from what they've said, he's very, very old. And he walks in, he sees, from what I understood, okay, maybe you got a better handle on this.
Uh-huh.
Is Apak his brother or a
Yes.
friend? Or okay,
I
so
I think he's his brother because at some point I think he calls him like it says like a pocket addresses him and says brother. And I was like, is this
right.
literal brother or is this like when, you say someone close to you
Hey,
like brother?
brother.
Yeah. And I was like, I don't have the full context there, but yes, that was my guess.
Okay, so this is the first time that we've met a Pac too. So I'm not
Okay.
positive about this. This is the first time we've actually been out to this village, period.
Gotcha, gotcha,
So this
gotcha.
is all new territory for us. And but anyway, a Pac comes out. He also, once they get to the house, a young woman comes out, and it's Tega's. They said younger cousin, but that could also be like you were saying. How some people just say, "Hey, that's my cousin," even though they've just
Right.
been friends for a long, long time.
This was a fun portion for me to read because up until these chapters, I also had no idea the setting in terms of time. Like, this could be an
Mm.
old, classical, way back in time medieval setting, or it could be modern. And then it was like a guy who shows up on a snowmobile. And I was like, okay, we're in present day. Got it. Noted. It was
Yeah,
a
yeah,
big
yeah.
wake up call that we are not in the past.
Yeah, so I think this book came out in like '05. The series was written in early 2000s, and he's gotten a lot better about it. But the author Chris DeLacy is British, and he
Ah,
puts a lot of British influences in there. Like a
oh,
lot of
that's
their
fun.
meals are beans and toast. They have a lot of tea. It's always rainy and cloudy, which like it's just hilarious. That was the
That's
one of the
great.
first things my friend Kaylee when she guested on, she called that out. She's like, it's so British. Uh, but so yeah, I wasn't sure after he said that he married her cousin or his cousin. They're married, right? They had good enough relationship. She's there. He's happy for them, ecstatic. Then it gets kind of serious once the grandpa is calling for Tega. He says, "Why hasn't my grandson come to greet me?" So Tega walks in and it starts off kind of slow and easy. He's watching his grandpa. He's getting not really good feelings because he sees that this old man is smoking and he's worried about his lungs and his health, which is fair. I
Hmm.
don't have any room because I vape, so I can't really talk too much
Okay.
shit, but it is what it is. Uh, so he's relaying the information on what's happening, and he's telling his grandpa about the bears. He said that there was a male protecting a young woman, and they use Inuit words, or what I'm assuming is Inuit words, because it's italic, but I didn't do any research on that. That's my
Okay.
bad. I should
Yeah.
probably um check to make sure, but I forget what he called the girl, but the girl ended up just being Zanna. And so he's saying that there was a male bear that was protecting Zanna or standing over her, and then two more males were coming from the other side. And the grandpa and the brother were asking questions, saying, were the other bear's cubs? Was it a male with a cub? Tatuga got kind of upset. He thinks that these guys should know this information just from living out here, that would never happen. And he goes, no, they were all males. This is what freaked me out. And in the middle of this, Grandpa starts having what I have in my notes as a spiritual experience, or something paranormal happening, where
Right.
his eyes kind of flicker white and he starts having visions, and he's screaming, freaking out, saying that he's seen things with fire in their mouth. And he's just going on this kind of in how would you say this, not he's not able to relay anything that makes sense.
Yeah, it's kind of like, I don't know. It's not like being possessed, but it's one of those things where like someone is like speaking through him. It's you'll see like oracle types in books. Something kind of comes over them, and they're like, like Rachel Elizabeth Dare when she has prophecy in the Percy Jackson books.
That was, I can't even describe, that was perfect, and the way that he was speaking through was almost oracle like.
Yeah. Also, I do have the book here. The word for a young girl was a kabluna. And that, it
Kabluna,
was in
thank
italics.
you.
So I figured,
Yeah.
my guess was Inuit as well. Either that or magical, Firestar universe word. When I first read
Yeah,
it, I was like, what are the two?
exactly. And I had to do that one time with the Mark of Omara that's in this series, and I thought that might have been Inuit because it's been Inuit in the story. It's been blah 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 blah. I looked it up, and the only thing that ever came up was the wiki for the book. So I was like, oh,
All
okay,
right.
that's something
There you
that the
go.
author made that. Yeah. So I guess editing Diego will just have to do a better job on that. That's one of the things I got from you.
Hey, it's
Um,
important to have in podcasting.
yeah, yeah, for sure. But so during this episode, the boys are kind of freaked out, not sure what's happening, which to me is interesting because I would think if this man has been shaman for a while, he would have had some experiences or proven his powers in some way to this group. So I don't know why they would be so surprised.
Yeah, to me, it felt like Apak was a little less surprised since his initial thing was asking him, what does he see? Like, my take on it was that Apak was like, all right, another one of these, making sense that he kind of felt like more experience, where Jutega felt like a little more like this is not where he's normally spending his time.
Yeah. And it makes me wonder how long he's been with the research group because they do ask that earlier in the chapter too. Are you home for a while now? Did they release you from the research? And he said, no, I'm here to talk to Grandpa. So
Yeah.
I'm guessing it's probably been a couple years, and maybe he only makes the trip out once every couple or maybe once a year type of thing. But so during this episode, and after it's kind of tapering off a little bit and it gets quiet, Zanna pops in, and it doesn't tell us that it's Zanna right off the bat. It just says that somebody walks in, Tega sees Boots, and she's saying that he saw dragons. And once Tega looks up and sees Zanna, he's shocked and doesn't really say anything. Zanna just looks over at Apak and at Grandpa and says, tell him when he's ready that the Sybil Zanna is alive and to come talk to me when he's ready.
Oh, I didn't even put together that this person was Zanna. I thought this person just knew Zanna was okay.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
what
no.
happens when you talk about yourself in the third person.
Yeah, she's been talking about herself in the third person to Tega for a while because they don't get along. They've always been button
Oh,
heads because
interesting.
he's very much a man of the Inuit culture and they have their beliefs. And in his beliefs, what Zanna is, the Sybil, and what
Hmm.
Guana is just pure evil in their eyes. So he's kind of freaked out, even though Xana's been proven to be nothing but good.
Hmm.
He's still kind of looking at her in that way.
Yeah, with the
So
usage of Sybil in this chapter, it made me retroactively more upset about a thing. We in Potterless, I used to make fun of the names that J.K. Rowling picked for her characters because they're just so on the nose. And reading this was when I learned that Sybil is another word for an oracle, and for Professor Trelawney's first name to be Oracle. Just, I'm so angry. I'm
it
so
could have been
angry.
better.
Like it's kind of clever because it does sound just like a name, but at the same time it bugs me. Like it's one of those things where if you do it once, that's okay. But the fact that there's so many people whose names are, like Remus Lupin and all that, like you can do that once and it's kind of cool. But if you do it 12 times, it's like, okay, I see your formula here.
Yeah, I love that the wolf.
Wolf, 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 wolf. Oh, this guy's a werewolf? No way. Oh my gosh, who could have seen this coming? Everyone.
Yeah,
Everyone.
I've only read the first two books of Harry Potter. I've watched all the
Gotcha.
movies, obviously, and listened to all of Potterless. But I've read all of Percy Jackson.
Good stuff.
All of so there's three series there. I read the Red Pyramid. Are you going to do the red
I'm
pyramid?
gonna do I'm gonna do everything. I think I'm gonna keep it along going with like the main Percy stuff, and then I will get into like Magnus Chase and Kane Chronicles and all that. I just got to figure it out. I
Nice.
will probably poll my listeners because right now I'm on Heroes of Olympus. I feel like I'll do Trials of Apollo next, but then after that, I think I will be polling the listeners just to be like, what is most desired, and then get a sense of it, because I always get different comments and emails, people asking for what's going to be next. So I gotta give the people what they want, and I
Yeah.
will poll the listeners.
I mean, it takes a village.
Truly, especially when I can't research what's going on because then I might get spoilers. So it's very helpful to have both the community and then folks who help me produce the show, like Sherry, can give me some insight about what I should probably do next. So yes, it'll be a team effort.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it helps when you have so many people that have read these series. So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Percy Jackson isn't that hard to get into. I think it's amazing. It was one of the first ones that I had read.
I'm loving them. I really enjoy them quite a bit.
All right, so back to the last chapter then, and this was kind of small as well, but we
But
got kind
really
of a
fun.
lot.
This last chapter, I had a blast. This was my favorite of them, I think.
Oh, good, good, good. Okay, so chapter 32, well, golly gosh. And this jumps back with Liz, David, and the Dragons. We're back in Wayward Crescent. And just so you know, they're in Wayward Crescent, Massachusetts.
Okay.
So they're
Never
based
been.
in the US.
Cool.
Me neither. Yeah. I'm West Coast. Been all around there. Like west of the Mississippi, I have family, so I've visited all those places. Been to Mexico once, but that's my traveling experience.
Cool.
So not much. But so David and Liz are sitting there having a conversation, and David is basically saying he's just useless. I can't make a dragon. I tried this art slash ceramics in high school, wasn't any good at it. And that he one time tried to make a cup, and even if Salvador Dali had painted it, it wouldn't have sold. And I don't know who that is. I had to
Oh, you
Google
don't?
him.
Okay, yeah.
No,
He's the
yeah.
melty clock guy.
Oh. Okay, that was on our art final. So okay, all right, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
makes way more sense.
He's got the twisty, skinny little mustache. Yeah.
Okay. So David says that it wouldn't even be good, or that Salvador Dali would paint something like that. And then Liz is talking him into it slowly. She says that he basically has to because Grayth is asking him, and Grayth is part Lucy, part David. So if David
Gotcha.
wants to help in everything, he needs to be the one to do this. Okay, so David does give it the old college try, and he's kind of kneading it every which way that he can, and it says that his first attempt comes out kind of pear-shaped or
I love
pear-like.
that. Because I am someone, I struggle so hard with anything artistic. Like, even if I'm playing a game of Pictionary or something like that, like, I will be drawing and I can see what I'm supposed to be doing in my head, and I'm just like, how is it coming out this way? Like, how is it this bad? So for him to put in all this work to try and make a dragon and it to turn into a pear, I was like, I feel seen. I feel seen and represented by David in this moment.
No, I felt the same way because my entire family are artists. I was never good at art anything, period, so I became the sports guy. So
Gotcha.
that
Yeah, yeah.
that was me. But so Liz tells David that he needs to feel it more than see it, and he's thinking too much. So she
Okay.
tells him to
Very
close
good.
his eyes and dream it. Think of Gadzooks. Think of Gwaine. She's telling him these things in order for him to get a better grasp on how to make this dragon.
Yeah.
David does think that it's a little silly at first, but decides to give it a try. And he's picturing this dragon, says that the dragon's kind of dancing around, making certain little movements. And David is somehow molding this dragon just in a trance, is almost what I would say. And once he finishes, well, actually, while he's doing it, a couple of the dragons murmur in almost excitement slash in being impressed. Liz doesn't say anything until after, but when David opens his eyes, he's surprised to see a fully formed dragon.
Yeah.
David is asking if he needs to be killed and if he needs to be named yet. Liz says that just hold off on it. It needs to be 2 days to be killed. And David also wants to know if they need the icefire. Liz asks him, "Do you think that he needs icefire?" And David says, "Not really. I don't think so." Which confuses me because I've always thought in order for it to be a special dragon, period, it needed to have icefire.
Yeah, I mean, just from my limited knowledge of this, when they said that, I was like, why? It almost felt like a why not just do it to be safe kind of thing. I mean, obviously, it would depend on how tricky it is to get in contact with Icefire, but I also was a bit confused when that part came up.
Yeah. Well, so they have full access to Icefire.
Okay.
After Liz's
Then why not
snowball
just
was
use
melted,
it? Like, why
that's what I
not?
don't understand either. Yeah, like why change the process of something that's been yeah, yeah. Don't yeah, didn't get that. Confused me.
Especially because they're asking some guy who's clearly unfamiliar with the process. Like, do you feel like it's like, I don't know, man. I don't know what's happening. It felt weird to ask him, but I don't
Yeah.
know. Maybe we
It also
trust.
confused me on how David had this ability, period.
Sure.
Because I get that you probably might not know this without reading the rest of the books, but David is just a normal dude, right? The Penny
Okay.
Kettles came from Guinevere. They had that magic bloodline. Zanna is technically related to Gwilana and came from that bloodline. So, right, there's magic on both sides, but David is just a dude trying to go to college, and he
Mm.
got mixed up because this tenant that he had, does all these dragons. So I was confused on how David seems to have these magical powers as well. Because one thing you might not know is that with Gadzooks being a writing dragon, David's writing books, and his power is that what he writes comes to life.
Oh,
And in the
okay.
first book, he's only like a couple of seconds ahead. But he's writing those events. He's helping Lucy get squirrels. In the second book, it's like a couple days ahead. And so right now, we're not even sure where his ability's at because he's kind of put a halt on his writing. But so that's his special ability. But again, he's just some normal dude. I'm not
Right.
sure how he got these abilities.
Interesting. Interesting.
During the 2 days that Liz takes the dragon away, David is just bored. He's lost. He doesn't know what to do. Says that even the snow can't cheer him up because it makes him think of the cold, then the Arctic, and then of Zanna, and he's just empty. One thing you might not know is right at the beginning, right before you came on in one of the last sections, Zanna actually broke up with David because she knows about his ability of being able to write, and he was writing a story that involved Gwilana himself and Zanna, kind of putting them in danger's way.
Okay.
And so Zanna got really upset about that, asked him to delete the book. He did, but we came to find out that once he starts writing something, it can't be destroyed. So he's going to have to
Oh.
continue this story.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, yeah. But so David's lost. He's wondering about things. He even looks at the old crow that he had a fight with trying to save the squirrel, Karakitus, and he
Yeah,
asks him,
these stories reference, I was like, oh wow, I've missed, I have missed a lot.
yeah, well, the first book, it was weird. I had gotten these because I love dragons. I saw a dragon eye. I'd be like, oh, that's super interesting. First book is completely about David, and since he can't see the dragons yet or anything, or interact with them yet, it's just about David writing a story about squirrels. So it took me by surprise where this whole series went.
Interesting.
Now we're finally dealing with dragons.
Yeah.
But so Liz finally comes down. She has the whole posse of dragons, including the new one, and she tells David that it's time to name him. They kind of go back and forth, and David is thinking, and before he can get anything out, he just goes, gosh. And I'm assuming that the dragons accepted it just because it had that G at the beginning.
Right.
And David tries to explain. He's saying, no, I didn't mean it. I was just saying, gosh, that's not his name. Gadzooks comes, flutters to his shoulder, and says, what about golly gosh?
I
So,
thought it was, I at first I was afraid because he says gosh and then, Gadzooks comes over, which is like, what do you mean you can't name it gosh? One of them is named Gadzooks. So like clearly you can name it after an exclamation, but then, he whispers something and then you get the little joke of like, no, I can't name it golly gosh. And I was really worried that he wasn't actually going to name it. Like I thought he was going to be like Gerald. And I was like, no, gosh is so good. So I'm glad that he went with golly gosh. I was very worried that we were going to have a dragon that almost had a great name and then didn't. So I'm glad that we followed through and we got the golly gosh. I was worried. I was really scared.
yeah, I would feel Even more weird if a dragon got a normal name like that, like Gerald or George or I
Sure.
would why? Why? He's supposed to be a magical being. I don't want to talk to George.
Yeah, I think it would be fun. Like, I personally enjoy when people name their cats just like normal, boring names. Like, I had a roommate with a cat named George, and I thought that was very fun. I had a friend who named her cat Ralph. Like, I love just like a
Yeah.
very standard issue kind of name. Claire, like, just like it does, it's not anything over the top or, very pet sounding. So I think that's fun. So yeah, because so many of these are, Gwendolyn, Guinevere, and Gareth, and all these fanciful names. It would be fun, yeah, just have like and Gary,
Yeah, it's just what normal.
just the one, and then they razz him like that's the only G name I could think of. But yeah, I was very happy with Golly Gosh, super fun.
I think it fits very well, especially because I didn't remember him at first, but as soon as we found out what he does, I instantly clicked. I was like, "Oh,
Very
okay, all
cool
right."
abilities. I thought very
Yeah, yeah.
fun.
And so David, when he was making the dragon, everybody commented on how this dragon didn't have any eyes. David said
Hmm.
that he didn't see the eyes, it wasn't open. Not that he didn't have eyes, he just, couldn't do that. So Liz kind of helped him put like scales and a closed eye. And once David named the dragon, it opened its eyes. It's
Hmm.
kind of floating back and forth, and then it opened its wings, and its wings were translucent, which is the
Hmm.
first time that we've seen that in any of the dragons. So
Pretty cool.
yeah, I think that would be a beautiful dragon. Be awesome. Liz is surprised, and they're still not sure what is in the eye or in the hand of the dragon, but they decide that it's a toolbox, and David's kind of talking to him. Golly is looking around and fixates on a toaster that's over on the counter. And I didn't understand if he could just sense that this was broken, like since he is kind of a DIY dragon, if he could just sense things that need to be healed and go to those. But David says, "Yeah, that's a toaster. It burns bread when it works." Gosh takes a couple seconds to look at it. He goes over, takes it apart, fixes it with a little zap of dragon magic, puts it all back together, and then it works magically.
Yeah.
And so Liz is just completely astonished, not really saying much. And David is saying, "Oh, what? You do it yourself, dragon?" And Liz says, "No, you made a natural healing dragon," and that
Yeah.
she never thought she'd see one in her life.
I already thought it was cool when you had little DIY Mr. Fix-It Dragon. I was like, this is cool. What do you mean? And then when you get the upgrade that it's more than just that, I was like, oh, I already thought this was cool. So for him to be even cooler, that's awesome.
Yeah, and it makes me wonder with this. Okay, I'll say my part, and then I'll get to you on what you thought. With this dragon being introduced, and again, I don't remember everything, it made me wonder because David, right now, his plan is to stop Guilana from raising Gwaine. He's trying to
Okay.
put an end to that. But with this being a healing dragon and Lucy being over there and kind of being in tune with everything, is this going to lead to them raising Gwaine and hopefully maybe using him in their
Oh,
own
very fun.
visions? But so what did this make you think of, or did you have any questions on this chapter?
My question was, do the dragons stay tiny or do they grow bigger over time?
No, so yeah, these dragons are just clay dragons and they stay the same. I think they're described to being about like 10 inches tall.
Okay.
So yeah, nothing too crazy. They're supposed to be like held by two hands. For some reason, when I was picturing this the first time, where's my little guy? Let me see. Just picturing something tiny, tiny, kind of like this,
Oh,
right?
like
Where
a
it's just like sitting in
little,
your hand.
sure.
But yeah, I guess it's something more, around there-ish.
Mhm.
But yeah, so they're just clay dragons. And you have to be able, you have to have some kind of spell given to you or potion given to you in order for you to see the dragons and interact with them.
Okay, nice. The other thing I liked is that when they described the toaster, they said it scorches bread. And I thought that was a cool and very dragony way to describe it. And I appreciated it because now I have a daughter who's about a year and a half, and I'll try to just explain stuff to her. She's not at the toddler age yet where she's like asking questions, but I'll still try to describe things. And every now and then my wife and I will get tripped up of not being able to describe something without saying the name of the thing. It's like, oh, blender it mixes food together. Like, you're so tempted to be like, yeah, it blends food together. The toast, like, yeah, it toasts bread. It makes toast. And you're like, well, that's not helpful. You've said toast 3 times. So every now and then I get tripped up trying to figure out, like, what synonym conveys this. So for them to say that it scorches bread, I was like, ooh, I'll have to save that in my back pocket if I'm ever describing the toaster to my daughter later down the road.
Yeah, no, that's funny. I can relate to that. I recently started dating this girl. Well, not recently. It's been a while now, but she had a previous started family,
Okay.
and the little boy is 5 years old.
Oh,
And so
peak
he's
asking question age.
that's what I was gonna say is every other word is just why. And so
Yeah.
then I get to a point where I'm like, dude, I just like some Egyptian said that like 5,000 years. I don't know, man. Like, it's not me.
I am very excited for that challenge. As someone who did a bunch of improv, I will never back down from the whys. Like, I'm not going to be like, I hope to never get to the point where I'm frustrated. Like, I will try to keep going. I've done that with some of my, nieces and nephews. So I look to fully embrace the incessant question era of dadhood.
Yeah, I mean, I still get a break from it every now and then because I get to go home and go to work. But
Sure.
in a couple, we'll see. We'll get there. But that brings me to the end of this section and the end of these chapters, Mike. I super appreciate it. Before we close off and tag everything, I just want to bring up that question again.
Yes.
If you had a special dragon, what tools or items would they hold?
So I imagine that he's going to have like a tiny little one of those little notepads that has the spirals at the top where like the classic old school press guy. And my envisioning is that he will be the say the right thing dragon. And that can be like in a serious thing, you need some words of encouragement. He's there for you. You need a little pep talk. Or if you're feeling sad, he says something to cheer you up. Or if you're like saying a joke or something, he can hit you with like a little zinger. If you're looking for a pun, he's got you. If you need a hype man to hype you up, he's got you. I like to think of myself as someone who's like flexible and tries to, fit whatever the situation calls for. So to have a little dragon going around being like, quick turn to him and he says exactly what you need in that moment, happy, sad, funny, or otherwise, I would like for that to be the dragon.
Almost like little cue cards or something. That would be awesome.
Yeah. He's the little guy. He's ready for it. He's ready to help you with whatever you need.
Oh, dude, that's cool. Hey, I really appreciate it. Again, I know I did a little bit of fangirling before, but let me get some more in real quick. You were a huge inspiration. You helped me through a long time of just working and getting through those long days. I love your humor. Love the way you interact with everybody on your podcast. So thank you for being you, dude.
Yeah, thank
Is
you.
there anything that you want to plug or anything you want to talk about?
Sure. I mean, aside from the more YA book podcast I mentioned, if you want to listen to another show from me, there's a new one that I launched with my friend Sequoia Simone, and that's called Professional Talkers, where we are both full-time podcast people, and we've had many awkward conversations, many of which are available publicly for everyone to download and ridicule. So we are now giving comedic advice of how to avoid or navigate awkward conversations, and we've done episodes about small talk at a party or relationship things like going on a first date or breaking up with someone or things with roommates or neighbors or whatever. It's been a whole lot of fun, and we've been delighted to see people in the comments saying, oh, this advice actually helps. So in addition to being fun and silly and goofy, the advice we're given is actually pretty good. So you can listen to that wherever you get your podcasts just by searching for Professional Talkers. We did a bunch of video episodes to start and then decided it's too much work. So now we're going into audio only, but you can get some video for the first couple.
No, that's awesome. I recently learned how to apologize to your friend and how to not make it awkward. So
Look, it's
I love
important.
that
It's
episode.
important.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
huge.
but yeah, if you want to check that out or any of the other podcasts that I do a whole bunch of stuff, you can just go to my website, which is Schubes, schub.es. And then if you want to find me personally on social media, I'm on Instagram most often at Schubes17, schubes17.
Awesome. With that, all you flyers, riders, and riders, have a safe flight out and hit no turbulence.
Mm-hmm.